All right, real quick, want to thank everybody here at St. John Fisher. We love coming to camp. I think you guys know that by now. And another beautiful day. Got one practice in. And thank our staff as well. Andy Major, Emily Kearns, Brendan Rowe, Ryan Moore, Matt Warswick. A lot of people help so we can just walk out there and do this. We know it doesn't just happen. So, again, thanks to all the St. John Fisher people for being so welcoming, and thank our staff for getting it set up. After that, I'll take questions.
Brandon, there was a NFL executive who reportedly called Josh Allen overrated. Thoughts on that?
Josh, I don't know where to start. It's frustrating. You try to ignore this stuff, but Josh is going into year 7, and there's still the naysayers. I don't get it. If I was going to use rated, I would say underrated before I would say overrated. And I know I'm biased. He's our guy, and love him every single day. These things that come out there, I know people love the rankings of whoever, but when you don't put your name to it and you make comments like that, like, who is this executive? Executive's a loose term. I was probably referred to as executive well before I should have been. And so I just say, if you're not going to put your name on it, we really shouldn't validate it. I know it gets validated because it's on ESPN, and I'm not a fan of that style, and I wish the writer wouldn't include a comment like that. I don't think Josh deserves that. And again, I'm biased, but I'm tired of hearing it.
Why would you think anybody would think that? I mean, I know you can't put yourself in the guy's shoes, but what would lead anybody to believe that he's overrated, given what he's done?
Sal, there's idiots everywhere.
Oh. Right?
I don't know. Till you put your name on it, I don't know. I think he's done plenty, but I think part of it, Sal, truthfully, is there are people that did not. We all are well aware when Josh came out. There are people that thought he was a bust or would not make it for all the reasons that they've listed over the years. And I just think anytime someone thinks they got a crack, they're going to say, see, I told you so. See, they're looking for things. You can look at any player in any sport and point out negatives. No one is God or a robot. But Josh's positives don't even come close to the negatives. And so for what he's done for this team, for what he's done in this league and his own accomplishments, to say he's overrated and to point out a flaw here or there it's ignorant.
As much as you don't like the comment, knowing what Josh is made up of, how much might it help? Maybe not even help, but just as a reminder that there's still some people out there that think this.
Yeah, I mean, the good thing about Josh is he's always felt the naysayers. I don't think there's a year in the league that I know of where someone doesn't want to point out something with him. I mean, even going back to some of his early games, is either a rookie or second-year guy, he would make plays in a game, but if he made a dumb throw or something like that, he could have helped us win the game. But that's the highlight or low light that they want to show, because that validates their thoughts and views on him. I don't know. Again, we've ignored it for so long. And I think the local media, you guys have all see Josh and realize not only is he a hell of a player, how great he is in his role. It's so hard to be a quarterback and have his status, and he stays after and signs every freaking autograph, and he's perfect in the role. We're lucky as hell to have him, and I get frustrated with it. But Josh he's got a natural chip, John, and I don't think whether this person said this would change that. I think he's coming in this year with a chip. He wants a title. He wants it. Every year that we don't win it, it's digging a deeper chip, and I think that's what motivates him.
More broadly as a team, how aware, how much do you care, put a chip on? Maybe the way a lot of outsiders are talking about your team and the expectations for what they could possibly accomplish this season in particular?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's similar, John. Like, there's been some years where they said we're the favorite or we're supposed to win. That doesn't mean anything. It really doesn't. Every team is a new team, and I know that's, coach speak or GM speak, whatever you want to say. But this is a team that has a lot of new faces, both sides of the ball. But, this is what camp is so important. So I love being here. This gives us a chance to, obviously, we can work on any game field or practice field, but we can bond here. And I think that's what Sean and I really value about going away and sitting in the CAF. I just walked out of the CAF, and there's guys sitting there. They're not rushing to get to the meeting and do honey-do list or get home. Their focus is solely on doing their job and getting better. And this is a new team that'll have to define itself. So whether people predict us to be, 6-11 or 11-6 or whatever it is, it really won't matter. Once games start, that's what you guys are going to be writing and reporting about.
How excited was it for you to evaluate all these new faces and so many different variations?
It's always fun. I mean, camp has a different feel. There's an agent here that I was talking to after practice, and he was like, "Hey, what camp is it, and how do you like this?" And I'm like, "It's totally different from years ago when you come out here and we would do 9-on-7 hitting drills, 30 minutes off of vacation, like." Just as coaches wanted to see who had been working and who hadn't. But the rules probably for the better from an injury prevention standpoint. We do a ramp up. I mean, today's probably the shortest practice we'll have until we do a mock game before we play whoever our opener is, Chicago maybe. But so to me, this is just a continuation of the OTAs until we can get into pads and evaluate the 9-on-7 drills, the 1-on-1 pass rush. Because football this is not flag, this is tackle, and so there's a lot of evaluation coming up once we get through this acclimation period.
From the point you handed in the card to now, and I know it's only one practice here, has anything surprised you about Keon and what you've seen of him?
I didn't know he was as funny as he is, but he's. I've had more texts from people all over the country I'll talk to. I don't know how good your guy is, but I sure love watching his interviews. And I'm like, well, hopefully his game matches his interviews. But he's smart. He works hard. He's competitive. And, again, I think that he will bring a physical element. He's got size. I think that'll be part of his game. I know they've been working a lot even at the end of OTAs on, red zone stuff, jump, fade balls. Obviously he'll have some chances to win on 3rd and 5, a slant or a whatever route Josh and Joe dial up. But I think hopefully as the pads come on that we see some of that versus what you're going to see in maybe you've got a speedster or a super quick Cole Beasley type or something like that.
Was it deliberate on your part at all the way that you attacked cornerback this offseason to come in here with you have Rasul and Christian, Kyer working his way, and we see a lot of Jamarcus Ingram out there today. Not that maybe veteran depth player that you've had in camps past. Was that deliberate to kind of get a look at Kyer and Jamarcus a little bit more, maybe some of the other young guys? Yeah, I mean, we think we got some guys, and yeah, it's a big year for Kyer and Christian both going into year 3. Our first full year with Rasul, but I think having Rasul as a cagey veteran he's seen the highs and the lows of this league, from being drafted where he was drafted I think a 3rd round pick to being released on a practice squad and then working his way back up into a nice contract and a starter status and obviously a guy that we traded for. So I think you got 2 guys there that are 3rd-year players that they know everything to expect, and we're looking for them to both take another step, and then having Rasul here and then some young guys around it. But listen, if we see a veteran that we think we need to add and we can fit them in, we would do that. But we like the competition too that we have right now, Matt.
Damar was out there getting some reps with the ones today. I mean, aside from what happened, just as a player in his development in year 4, what have you seen from him?
Yeah, he came back hungry. One of the things he said to me, and I feel like he said it to others, is I got through last year being like, the first. I mean, right now we were still talking about it's going to be different when he puts pads on. It's going to be different that first hit, and then got to get in a game in a stadium, where that incident happened. No one's talking about that anymore. I know you're asking me the question because of that, but his focus was like, no, I want to go win a job. I want to show I can prove that I can start and help and make plays, and so that's been his focus. Is Micah and Jordan are gone. There's new faces around, and don't forget about me. I can still do it.
Hey, Brandon, what do you want to see out of Vaughn over the next 6 weeks to say, hey, he's sort of crossed that barrier and can be a productive player?
Yeah, I think similarly, last year we were talking about Vaughn's ramp up and all that, Ryan. I think for him it's just seeing that explosive twitch that we saw a little bit. I think even Vaughn referenced it maybe one time this offseason in the playoffs, and maybe that last game of the season against Miami, just seeing that twitch that he's always had, fire. So I think that's what we'll want to see, winning his one-on-ones. Like, is he, you would love to see him get back, not only winning his one-on-ones, but where people are like, hey, we got to have a plan for him, because if two people have to block him, or if they got to chip him, somebody's going to get, a single block.
Matt back out there today, fully in the team drills and stuff. Just how do you feel about his progress, and to get him already first day, already back out there?
Yeah, Matt's done. Man, you always. We've had some guys back with Tre'Davious, his rehab and just the way he attacked it, and it reminded me of the way Thomas Davis in Carolina attacked 3 ACLs and things like that. But I think he's the same way. He's attacked everything with his rehab, and this was probably as good as we could have hoped that he would be starting camp. And we got to manage him. We got to be smart. And he's a competitor. He's going to want to practice every day. I don't think that's realistic, but it's good to see him out there. Like anything, I'm sure he's probably thinks he's going, man, I used to make that play, or I would have made that play if I'd, But I think over time we'll see him blending back in. But we missed 58 last year. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that. So it's good to have him and that edge. We all know he's not going to give a long speech or anything like that, but Matt's got a toughness, an edge, a presence that our defense needs, and so it's good to have him back.
Where do things stand with Micah Hyde at the moment?
I think nothing has really changed from, I think Micah made some straight up comments around his softball deal about where he was at, and we talked, and he came out to practice one day, and we had talked before that, but I think Micah's in a really good spot. He's enjoying his family time, but he's staying ready should the right opportunity come, but we haven't done anything in addition to where we kind of left things off in June.
Josh talked about going to Nashville, having some of the offense come to Nashville. He said it was more than just being on the field. He talked about building relationships, going to dinner, all that kind of thing. In the grand scheme of things, what does that mean to you or to the team that they get together and do things like that?
Yeah, I mean, you obviously want them to get together to throw and stuff out there, but it's exactly what I was referring to here coming to St. John Fisher, getting away. That's a getting away from their – because when you're in your home city, like if I don't leave when it's time for vacation, if I don't leave and go somewhere and I sit in Buffalo, I'm going to end up in the office or doing stuff around my house. This is kind of forced bonding, when they went to Nashville and guys are hanging out. Nobody's trying to get out to go do something with someone else. And, that chemistry, that bond that you form off the field really helps you, especially when adversity hits. And every team's going to go through it. A side of the ball, an offense may go through a funk. And having that trust and that camaraderie helps you work through, the highs and the lows.
How does your perception, if it changes or not, change or differ from past camps, knowing that you're coming in with 43 new additions, probably the most since 2018? I know some of those new additions, some of the guys that are coming back are Josh. You've got a quarterback in place. But how does your perception change at all?
I mean, listen, I think, John, some year there are going to be some newer faces, but I think we've also, some of the guys that are here, I think we do have a good number of guys that maybe weren't in key starting roles that are here, and then we have brought in competition. I think it's so important. Find as much competition as you can at every single position that you can afford, and and that will challenge each other to be the best they can be. But again, every team is also a new team. You're always going to have new faces. If you look at most NFL rosters 4 years ago to where they are today, it's crazy, the turnover. You don't realize it. And I think this just happened to be one of those years we tried to, obviously 2020 was a heck of a year for us. We tried to, all right, let's see if we can get over the top in 21. And, we brought Emmanuel Sanders in a couple pieces, but we had a lot of and then we brought in Vaughn. We tried to add a couple pieces here or there each year and keeping the band together, but due to age, contracts, the business itself, this just, was one of those years where there was probably a little more turnover of bigger names. And, some of the guys we mentioned, but I think we've talked about it before. It was a lot of guys that had a C on their chest. And so we are counting on more of our younger players that have been here, what I was referring to step up into some of these new leadership roles.
Do you have a position battle you're particularly excited for?
No, I think the biggest thing that I love now is we've been training. We've had these guys since April, May for the rookies, and as I was saying earlier, Catherine, it's shorts and T-shirts. And so I am always excited to watch the padded periods, the plays that matter. I mean, we're not bringing guys to the ground, but one-on-one pass rush, 9-on-7, who's coming in there thumping, just some of those things. And then I think we're all going to be interested, and I don't know how much we'll be able to tell in practice, but this first couple preseason games, how this kickoff thing is going to unfold. And, I think that's going to determine, some of the final roster spots on all 32 teams.
How has, Coach Babbitt, his approach? What are your thoughts on Coach Babbitt's approach?
Just his energy. I mean, he's able to – he's one of those guys that he's always had to bottle it up. And, he wakes up like he slept with 3 cups of coffee. I mean, Bobby's just – but it's great energy. It's positive. The hardest thing for him is probably not being as hands-on at one position, whether it was safeties or linebackers, doing the whole thing. But, just even our setup here, the way the defensive staff is set up, it's right outside mine and Sean's office, and I had my door open yesterday, and he was going through everyone's drills. I mean, he had all their assignments down. I was getting off the phone, but it was like he was sitting next to me. I mean, he probably was standing up, like coming out of his seat. So I love the energy. I think it's good. I think our players feed off of it. Bobby is a super smart guy, and he could have had some opportunities to leave and be a D coordinator. I think he was going to definitely be offered at least a position or two outside of here. So we're excited that it worked out timing wise for him to take over.
Are you watching the Hard Knocks with your old buddy? And are you sending text messages through each?
I have not seen it. I've seen some snippets. Obviously, some people on some text threads forwarded some of those pictures when I looked like I was 12. Less responsibility, less gray hair. But man, I'm better him than me going through that. Let's just say that.
Yes, that answers the next question.
We are not up for Hard Knocks. Thank y'all.